How's it going, guys? Well, right now it's kind of like cold and rainy out here and kind of wet. But the goal of the day is to mess up the geometry of this front end. I mean, put this rack and pinion in here. And so anyway, it's going to take me a couple days to do this because I need to get, pretty much I need to get this guy so it's down in there where it needs to be. So I can take these tie rods off and figure out how long they, and make them new to fit on here. And then on another day, same video probably for you guys, we can put that thing in here and get this thing all messed up. I mean, so we have a rack of pinion in there. This is going to make it so that there's no play, I mean at all. There'll be no play in this thing at all. It'll eliminate this big giant box in here. But it could possibly mess it up to where whenever I push down on the suspension, the tires could buckle one way or the other. Like both of them will go evenly, will turn out or turn in. So every time you hit a bump, it won't be really bump steer because what the front end does, it'll do equally on both sides, but it'll mess with you at driving it. The biggest goals of it is that this right here needs to be centered between these two arms. That's the best thing about it. Another thing is trying to get it in the same location as far as where it's sitting right now up in here, like this way and this way. It needs to be the same spot. The other bad thing about it is that correct setup is that this point, and the point where this hinges usually needs to be somewhere in the same location so that they all hinge at the same place, but not at the same time. Honda probably, has some kind of program, and they set up and had this thing so that everything worked within the range that it traveled and staying within a degree or so out here. But I guess enough of the techno babble crap. We'll just start tearing this stuff out of here so I can get started. Alright, so I like to make a mention that I scribed mark right here, and then when I turn it the other way, there's a mark scribed right there. Basically, I took a micrometer, measured both sides, and got them to where they're exactly the same. So that way, whenever I line these marks up to the shoulder, I have it's exactly center. I did that so that the whole time I'm working on it, I know where center is. And I do have boots for these. They're just off to do this job. But alright, I got everything tore out down there. The little shafts out of there, and the tie rods are kind of hanging back here. But I'll set that guy down in there and try to see what we can figure out for new links for these. It's a lot easier to tap something like this out in a lathe. So I'm going to take them to work, drill them and tap them out to their new length. Alright, I got that little rack and pinion right down in the middle there. And we got, there's the end of the rod. I just got to figure out, mark it off where I got to cut it and retap it and drill it. These aluminum tie rods, the durability of them remains to be seen. Pretty much I got a whole pack of these off of eBay, and more than anything I got it just because it's aluminum, so it looks cool, but it's easy to tap. It's easy to tap out. Figuring that you got to put a right hand and a left hand, right hand on one end and a left hand on the other thread, and the tap for that is kind of pricey, so you definitely don't want to break it off and then have to go buy another tap. But if this doesn't work, I do have the 300EX with these aluminum rods in, And I mean, it hasn't been ridden a whole lot, so like I said, it remains to be seen. Pretty much, if this would ever come loose, it would trash those threads out very quickly. But alright, well, I'll get these marked, get them off here, and I'll probably see you once I get them all done. Alright, got the tie rod shortened up and re-tapped out. And one of the things I was thinking about, as far as, you know how I was talking about how, like, when the suspension travels, the tires may go like this or like this whenever you push down on the suspension. I was laying in bed the other night kind of thinking about it, on how I could try to find the absolute center of where this thing needs to be located in here for, you know, everything to work out right. And one of the things I was thinking is that that tie rod's gonna fall. Put the tie rods on. I got them cut the length, get them adjusted so this thing is center, and then basically I can just move this thing around in there, and it should, as I'm moving it around, it'll push the tires in and out as I'm moving it around, and basically try to find a location in there as I'm moving it to where it seems centered. If that makes any sense at all. I don't know. It's just a thought. It might work, may not. One thing that's kind of difficult with it is that these ball joints right here, they're car tie rod ends, and they're brand spanking new, and they are hard to turn. I can't hardly turn it, you know, as it is by hand. So I don't know how well, you know, my little theory is going to work as far as centering it up. But another little issue I got is this spline right here. This thing is small. It's like 14 millimeter, 14 millimeter 30 spline. Go-kart ones seem to be 5/8. This is, well, 14 millimeter would be like 9/16. Go-kart ones seem to be all 36 spline and 5/8. So I don't know. All the car ones I have are 36 spline 5/8, intermediate shaft pieces, or they have like a flat system where they there's a radius on each side and it's flat. It's either that kind of hookup. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that yet as far as hooking this guy up. But anyway, we'll get this thing in there, put the tie rods on it, and see if I can get some ideas of once I got it in there. Alright, so I got the rack and pinion down in there, and I got it outside here because I got tired of being cooped up in that building. And it's pretty nice out here today. At least it got nice. And this thing is like perfectly comfortable with where it is. But the problem is, it's comfortable with it all the way up against, you know, the rack and pinion all the way up against these bars. That's where it's most comfortable. Like, I hold it in place and I push down on it, and at this point I do not get any of this going when I push down the suspension. Right where it's at. So as soon as I try to like lift it up off to where I'm gonna have enough room to get those boots on there, it's okay. And also I gotta get it to come this way so that the shaft, probably what I'm looking at is cutting this out of here. That's almost looking like it's gonna have to happen. I mean, I got this one in here, which also still needs tied into stuff, but which is the plan, I just haven't done it. But as soon as I go like this with it and try to push down, it gets all funny. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I'm going to use what's here to at least get this thing in position, and then I'm going to make wedges. I'll cut out wedges to put in here, and I'll weld it across here, and then make this a permanent mount. But I'll probably use what's here and like weld it here and weld it down there, just, you know, tacks, 3 tacks, and then make my wedges to go in. But I'm kind of thinking maybe if I lower this, I cut this out here a little bit lower, then it'll allow me to twist that a little bit more this way and also have it lower so that the wheels are happy. So to go about cutting that out of there, I don't know, because I can't get a grinder in there. Can't get a grinder in there, and the Sawzall. It's almost like I need torches to cut any of that away. I don't know. The toe that I end up with isn't bad. It's not bad when I push way down on it, and when I push down on it, I mean, I'm pushing down on it pretty good. You know, I'll push down on it once, and you see here. I'll see if I can hold the camera still while I'm doing it. It's happy right where it's at. That's just not gonna work. So I don't know. See what I come up with, I guess. Alright, I think I figured out something else. And if I can turn it, I cut and notched out the bottoms. You see the little notches down in the bottom of that plate. So that way the whole plate can go this way some, and then I was able to turn it so that this guy's coming straight up, not straight up, but you know, turned up more, and I think it's going to work. I do need to take a little bit off of this side right here, so that I could, it's kind of on a tilt right now because it's a little bit longer on one side than the other. But I think I'm getting somewhere with this. Next thing is I need to figure out where I can cut this guy off to where it's kind of like the top's out around, you know, where it's going to be welded, so that way I can get this rack and pinion out of here, because with this sticking up, this extra sticking up right here, I won't be able to get it out. Alright, I got that rack and pinion all welded in there, and I am happy with this. It's not perfect. It's not perfect at all, but it's well within tolerance of being able to ride it and not be out of control with it. You can see here, got it welded across right there, and it's welded in the bottom sections a little bit, enough to hold it in there till later. When I go to tear the whole thing apart, I'll weld in some little triangle pieces to bring it into here, you know, so it's fully in there and never going to come out and break. But for mocking up right now, it's pretty good. I'm going to try to show you. It's kind of hard to hold the camera steady and push down the suspension at the same time. One thing you got to consider with this type of suspension, that the lower it gets, the wider it gets, so it pushes on the wheel this way. So as a reference, you kind of got to look between the distance between here and here as how that changes. But I'm going to pull up and down on it and see what we got. I'm pulling up and down on it right now. It does toe in and out maybe 1/4 of an inch. You know, it pigeon toes about 1/4 of an inch. So I think that is excellent for considering how badly this could have went. But I really like it. It's going to be so much cleaner than having that big old box thing up here. And I won't have any play in the steering at all this way. So I think it'll call it a day for this. Thanks for watching.